80% of the world's problems involve old men hanging on and who are afraid of death and insignificance, and they won't let go.
What do you think is making them white knuckle power to the very end?
I honestly don't know.
I think America doesn't give dignity with old age. Eastern cultures, as you get older, we respect our elders, and there's a place for you that is of high status.
Yeah.
So here's my pitch.
Okay.
I think once you hit the retirement age, to encourage people to retire, we should say, hey, please retire gracefully. We will give you a guest slot on The View. Because that's catnip.
Yeah.
That's catnip.
Yeah.
Daytime talk show. I get hair and makeup done every day.
Yeah.
And I get to talk politics.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
That is what my dad wants to do. Think about that dream lineup on The View where it's just like Chuck Grassley, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Mike Birbiglia's mom. Bam. Do you know what I mean? It's like you don't have to run healthcare anymore. You don't have to run the government anymore.
Yeah.
You have a job. You will be seen in every dentist's office across the United States.
America, power with no vision. And it's the reason I'm gonna say it that way is because the visions that people had from America in the beginning all the way up to now, it really wasn't vision. You know, you had people coming from Europe like, we don't want to be under the thumb of the monarchs, right? We want to be able to do our own things, even though the founding fathers were aristocrats, and like half of the people that signed the Declaration of Independence were slave owners. But we have a vision for this great land. Who you killed the quote unquote Native Americans, red natives or whatever. You killed them off to steal their land. So all of this correlates to what's going on now. Slavery, same thing. I got a vision, but I can't do it. And the vision is I want to be able to be in a powerful position that I benefit off of. Me solely, I can benefit off of it. And we can have a country of people who benefit off of other people, just like the monarchs in Europe. You know, you traded a king for a president. You know, nobles for representatives and whatnot. You know, so now as America's evolved over the centuries, right? It's pretty much commonplace to have people in powerful positions who have no vision, because people making this assumption that they have a vision of what America is going to be in the future. And I hate to use this because I wasn't trying to go there. America only sees as far as racism will allow it. And I'm not just talking about Black America. You know, Native Americans, Black America, Hispanics, Muslims, you know, just pretty much every other non-white group is going to be some racism involved. So America can't see past that. So your politicians can't see past that. Your corporations can't see past that. You know, well, corporations, they're a little different. Yeah, because it's the same thing with them. We're gonna be capitalists, and we're gonna take these countries and we're gonna go abroad and get the cheapest labor we can find in these Asian countries or South American countries. You get what I'm saying? We're gonna still get these resources from dirt cheap in Africa and whatnot. And because of all that profit, you wanted to profit. You know, we're beholden to shareholders. You know, because the shareholders want to profit, but everybody else can't. The whole bourgeoisie proletariat argument. You say you put these people in, these people are in powerful positions that unfortunately people still associate with merit. Like these are the best of the best, the brightest, the smartest. No, that's merit versus with nepotism. Good old boys club networking type of thing. And in that network, there's not a lot of vision. If like at this point, the Statue of Liberty could be Marie Antoinette. Let them eat cake, because that's how the top percent looks at the country. When he says 80% of the problems old men not getting out the way, they're not going to get out the way. They're not going to get out the way. There is no new vision, because people are fighting for their piece of the pie of power. And the power in America is to be highly paid for being incompetent. And you profit off of your incompetence where everybody else under you suffers. And then you pay the actual people who are actually competent to make you look good, because you don't have a vision. You don't have a plan of direction. That's why you look at a lot of the major businesses in America. They're completely lost. They're just trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip, because they don't know what's going on with America, because they never had vision of America, because they're what do you call that? They're disassociated. They have no connection to the common man. None. You have people in big business and in politics who are comfortable with the boardroom and comfortable with the bureaucracy of politics, but have no clue what's going on with the average American, and for the most part don't care. All of these people, and a lot of these older people, they got all of these stories. I came up with in hard times, and my family went through this, and my family went through that. And it's like, but you don't represent people like your family whatsoever. You don't have a vision to make sure people have a better America in the future than they had in the past. You don't. When I talked about the business, the car company should have known what was going on. You get what I'm saying? The banks should know what's going on. The insurance company should know what's going on. They all know what's going on the number side, and they know the inflation part. The politicians, they should know what's going on with their constituents, but in a general sense, it's a regular let's just say stereotype that the people that you vote for have no clue what's going on in their community. They have people voted them in, and they have really no connection to where they're from. They're really not fighting for the people in their community like that. They're fighting for clout in a political setting, because maybe I can work my way to the White House, and I can be in history's books. For doing what, though? The vast majority of people's plans for making a better America fail, because they have no clue of the direction that America is going in, because they've been in their own bubble. And people have been in their bubble for decades. So, and I'm gonna say this even with the political part, because even the political part of this, and also the business part, even law enforcement part, there's too much immunity. See, politicians have immunity, corporations buy immunity, because they buy politicians, and let's just say law enforcement has immunity. So, or a similar form of immunity. So what you wind up having is people in quote unquote powerful positions who have no oversight or little to no oversight, and so there's no consequence when their lack of vision destroys large demographics of people. There's there's nobody to be held accountable. There's no let's just even talking about like something like the war on drugs, right? Uh Nobody not too many times you saw somebody of major consequence getting caught in the war on drugs. Not too many times have you seen politicians, even companies cater to their consumer, because I got the politicians, f these consumers. We're gonna pass this new law and that I paid for, and we're gonna roll with that. Part of even the political part of no vision is you have these bills being written up, 300, 400, 1,000 pages, and you got these older people who really don't know what's in them because they don't pay attention to detail, and they didn't even simplify politics to the point because they're not wise. And that's, I should have said that earlier. The biggest issue is you have people who aren't wise in powerful positions, and they don't have vision for a country. They don't have a direction. They don't know what's in the best benefit for America. And I'm saying that, in generally speaking, a lot of people never have. You just had a bunch of people who are out for self in a position pays for them handsomely to be out for self, while saying that they're going to do something for everybody. That's the concept of being a quote unquote politician. Is lying to a bunch of people so you can get at the front of the line to get benefits for yourself. Even when people have these, even politically, presidentially, they got these concepts, but nobody has a plan to make America a better place. They don't. And even and even when they try to implement a plan, you're gonna be fighting with half of America to go, I don't want you to do it because I don't see the vision. Because on both sides politically, you have large groups of people who can't say generally what America needs. What does America need? That's what we need to do. That's why I say they lack vision. It ain't that damn difficult. You remember how when people would say that pharmaceutical companies, they'll never make a cure because there's no benefit in it, there's no profit in the cure, so they're just gonna give you little doses. Same thing. America has for a very long time benefited off of created problems, not solutions. And the older people know that I can stay here as long as I want because nobody wants solutions, and I can just play to that. As long as I can get you and your emotions, to don't like this or don't like them or don't like them or don't like that or don't like that, you be in your emotions and not even think. These fools don't even have a vision. All they have is a pointing fingers ideology where, look over there, see what they doing? But you ain't doing shit where you at. But look over there though. What is your vision for the country? Huh? Country, we have the ideology of, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Man, get the fuck out of here. And it's going to continue to be like that because all of these people with all of this life experience and all of this success in life and all these understandings, what they don't have and they never did have was a vision. But I'm going to leave it at that. Tell me what you think. Catch you on the next one. Peace.